What is up guys, Castle here, back again with another Anthem video. In this video I just wanted to quickly go over something that doesn't really get talked much about, and that's the simple fact that you can fly. I just want to quickly start with saying that if you guys don't want to listen to this commentary and you just want to learn about the different environmental effects that can be had onto you when you're flying, in the description below will be the point on where to fast forward to, and then you can check it out in this video. Otherwise, let's get started. So, with most shooter games, you have what is called a cover mechanic or cover-based gameplay. Now, some games like Division or Destiny have most of your experience spent crouched behind cover or stood next to a wall, shooting at an enemy, getting shot, healing up in the cover, and shooting again and rinse and repeating the same thing. The difference between those in particular games is the engagement that you can have. So, one of them shooting from the cover, and one leaving cover, all in engage, and then run away and heal up again. Now, don't get me wrong, games like these are great, and I would highly recommend giving them a try, because I play them all the time myself. But the way BioWare has made flying one of its core mechanics for Anthem gives the game so much more variety. It gives the gamer the option to actually play the game how they want to play it, be that hiding behind cover and shooting from afar, or using the high number of gap closers that they've given you to introduce your brand new shotgun that you've literally just unlocked. And even they allow you the ability to introduce different strategies like flanking, or even testing your skills and trying to dodge enemy assaults whilst you're hovering. And after that then you can re-engage with your endless amount of firepower. Now, I do think that my favourite part of Anthem's flying mechanic is that BioWare has tried their best to remove loading screens, and they've also tried to fill in that horrible downtime that you can have between missions. Now, most players hate this downtime just because you're running from point A to point B, and you get nothing to show for it. There's nothing to progress you further to the next level, there's nothing interesting going on. But with the map so large and vast, that gives you the opportunity to become a literal explorer and adventurer. So after you've finished a mission, you might decide to take a look into that underwater cave that you just passed earlier on. You have the potential to find chests, and these adventures can get lucky, and you might find high-end gear or even endgame gear. You also have the chance to find Easter eggs, and Easter eggs in this game give you more XP boosts, so that allows you to progress even further. So there is a benefit to actually going out and taking a gander at what you can see in the world of Anthem. They've completely removed all the loading screens so you physically fly around. That just gives you more of an opportunity to become more immersed with this great game. And that's a personal opinion, I think this will be incredible to get into. So just the simple idea of flying involves the player to a different level. And this is why I think Anthem stands out from the crowd when people ask me what I think it is that makes Anthem special. And now that we have the commentary out of the way, I just wanted to quickly go over the in-game environment that can affect your flying whilst playing. So let's start with certain environments you can enter that will have an effect on your boost, overheating meter and cooldown. So flying in locations like waterfalls and underwater can stop your overheating meter from building up, but skipping or skimming over the top of the rivers, lakes and other water sources will only reduce the overheating meter build-up timer, but inevitably you will overheat and you will fall to the ground. It's interesting to see as well that BioWare has introduced a randomly generated weathering system. So if it does rain, for instance, it will slow down the time it takes to overheat, and it will also reduce the timer that it is to cool down. Just know though that if you do overheat, you will be forced to the ground and unable to fly for a short duration. I do want to also mention that there is a limited flight altitude due to a barrier or turbulence, as BioWare call it, that will push you down to the ground. So you need to pay attention to your overheating meter, because if you burn up and you've hit that barrier, you are going to fall to the ground, you are going to crash land, and you can nearly die from that. And finally, I just want to touch on the combat side of your flight. There is always going to be that risk factor. Certain enemies will have attacks that will try and knock you out of the sky, crippling you, and them trying to have the advantage. They want to try and remove your high ground. So some status attacks, like freezing, can knock you out of the sky, and they'll continue to have that status effect, so you will be stunned for a brief period. There are also enemies that are just like basic cavemen, and they'll just hurl a bloody rock at you. And as funny as it sounds, it probably will hurt, so you might want to dodge them, otherwise you will get knocked out of the sky. And finally, and probably the most annoying thing that you will encounter when fighting, is enemies that can do an ignite. Yes, it does a dot damage over time to you, but the worst part of it is the fact that it will instantly overheat your boosters, so you will be grounded for a fair time. So you got to be careful and read certain enemies that you come into contact with. There was a live stream last night that went on from Anthem Official, and they went up against a Titan, and the majority of the Titan's abilities were flame-based. So every time you got hit, they were grounded. So you had to try and predict the abilities, read them, learn to understand them, and then play around it so then you can have that advantage. And that is all the information I have on flying in Anthem. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. This is Castle, and I'll see you guys in the next video.